You know what they say about right-handed defensemen being unicorns, right? Difficult to spot, difficult to grow, and very, very difficult to find consistently as left-wing snipers or right-wing playmakers or two-way centers. Right-handed defensemen who play to the same standard that the player we're discussing today does don't just grow on trees. Although, if there's a year to go out there and look for your right-handed defenseman, this year, 2022, is arguably that year. Let's go over the guy who I believe is the top amongst these players in another episode of Why I Want. Last time we talked about Juraj Slafkovsky playing out of the Slovak Olympic team. We talked about his performance at the Olympic Games, his goal scoring, the fact that he broke a whole bunch of records, but today we're talking about his teammate. It's not every day you get yourselves an opportunity to make a Why I Want consecutive string of players who have won Olympic medals, so that's why I'm keeping the thumbnail the same style as the previous one. Today we're going over recently turned 18-year-old defenseman Simon Nemec. Now, I get it, it's spelt Simon Nemec, but it's Slovak, so it's not the same in the way the pronunciation goes. Either way, today we're talking about a guy who, at 6'1", 192 as a right-handed defenseman, is regarded by some people as the top defenseman in the entire NHL draft this year, and that's not a difficult opinion to find. If you go over to the consolidated rankings for the 2022 NHL entry draft, he is ranked a grand consensus total of 4th overall. He is also ranked 4th by elite prospects, 3rd by future considerations. Bob McKenzie has him at 9, which is one of the lower ranks on here. McKean's has him at number 2, however. Craig Button has him at number 4 as well. He is ranked as the 6th best European skater by NHL Central Scouting. Sportsnet has him at 5, Recruit Scouting at 6, Dobber has him at 4, Draft Prospects at 5, Smart Scouting at 8, and the Puck Authority has him at 3. So, Bob McKenzie seems to be the outlier here, ranking him at number 9, whereas some outlets have him as high as number 2 or number 3 or number 4. His consolidated ranking being number 4 pretty much evens everything out, because everybody else has him a little bit higher than Bob does. Either way, let's go over the profile as to what makes Nemec so special and why he is ranked 4th overall, consolidatedly, I guess, is that the adverb version of that word? In the first place. Nemec this season played for HK Nitra in the Slovak League where, as one of their most important defensemen on the team, he went out there and scored 26 points in 37 games. 1 goal, 25 assists, and he had himself a pretty good amount of international success as well. Now, before we go over to the rest of the games and everything, I just wanted to say this right here. The fact that he only got 1 goal this season kind of blows my mind, because as we're going to go over and explore, there are a lot of reasons to believe that this guy probably has a little bit more of a goal-scoring touch to his game than what he has shown off so far at this level. Aside from that, though, Nemec has also played internationally. He played for the World Juniors, which did get cancelled, so he'll probably be suiting up with the team again when they regroup. But he also played for the Olympic Games, and he had himself 1 point in the 7-game sample. He won himself the Hlinka Gretzky Memorial Cup MVP award, getting 6 points in 5 games with the tournament there in the process as the captain. And that entire tournament acted as a precursor to what was a very, very successful season in the top Slovak league. We already mentioned that he had 26 points in 37 games, but did you know that this is the highest amount of production that any defenseman has had in this league under the age of 21 ever? Simon Nemec has himself a top-of-the-line season that outclasses Lubomir Wisnowski 3 times over. Wisnowski's 19, 18, and 20-year-old seasons were all inferior to Nemec's 17-year-old season. And you gotta remember, Wisnowski went out there and scored like, what was it, 2, 3, 60-plus point years in the NHL? So definitely some solid company to be going out there and beating out on the record books. You also have, if you want to go to recent times, Brandt Clark, who suited up in the Slovak League last year. He had 15 points in 26 games. So Nemec had a better point per game number and a better point production number, just flat as well. And when you go over what exactly makes Nemec so special and why he has all these good numbers to his name, it's really something to behold. You go over and you watch the tape and you notice first and foremost that this guy's being played all the time. He's a really big minutes cruncher, even though he's a 17, 18-year-old player playing in a top pro men's league. The reason for this is because he's so smart, so positionally aware, and he's super calm too. Now, before we round out the defensive side of his game, let's talk about offense, because all the points that this guy was able to get, most of that was sparked up because he's got great vision in the offensive zone. In fact, he'll try a no-look pass here and there, and he usually gets it to go, either for a one-time opportunity for a teammate or a one-touch pass that sends opposing defenders out to lunch. The way he's able to move the puck across the ice with his stick, it's very crisp. He can snap the puck forward very quickly with shots and passes, and it usually finds its way to the net for rebound chances, or he's also able to send wing-to-wing passes effortlessly. Not to mention the perception he has of the offensive zone. He's always aware of where opponents are, and he's really good at maneuvering around that. If he needs to hold onto the puck and protect it for a little bit, he can do that because his mobility is pretty solid as well. He's got some footwork, he can actually keep up with the pace, and even with heavier pressure, he's able to maintain a solid level of consistency in the offensive zone. We've noted how he's got a pretty good snap when he passes the puck forward or gets it on net for a rebound, but when he absolutely wants to rip it, he can absolutely do so. When Nemec winds up, he opens up his hips, circles out with 8-4 skating, and loads up. Boy oh boy, this guy can snipe goals from the point. It's quite beautiful how he's able to do this. He can go top cheese when he really wants to and he decides to. When he doesn't have the puck in the offensive zone, he's willing to pinch if he sees an opening to hold the puck in, or to bounce forward with heavier pressure. Just his overall package of perceiving the game in both ends of the ice is very well refined. In the defensive zone, he doesn't overcommit on plays, and he plays with proper gap control and positioning. He's really good at just finding those split-second moments where he can slip his stick in and swat the puck away and carrying it back the other direction for a rush for his own team. He's good at creating space between himself and his opponents when he has the puck, and he's just so calm and precise with the way that he plays that this guy's poise is unmatched, especially for being a 17-year-old in the Pro Men's League in Slovakia. Let's go over onto a few scouting reports and see what some of the pros have to say about this player. Brock Otten of McKean said, another talented young Slovak player, one of 3 on this list. Nemec is a smooth skating right shot defender who can play in all situations and already has significant experience playing against men in the men's league. Craig Button said this, smart, poised, and calm under pressure, but he has a guile and assuredness in his play that belies his age. Very smart and skilled, can play it any way the game dictates, and he projects as a top-pair defenseman. Scott Wheeler of The Athletic said that Nemec is a tactical, intelligent, two-way defender who starts and leads his fair share of rushes, finishes plays with his feel for the offensive zone, and manages the blue line with a rare poise and comfort for his age. Samuel Turpak of Dobber says he is an extremely smart two-way defenseman who excels at both ends of the ice. His understanding of space is excellent, using his vision and high hockey IQ on both offensive and defensive sides of the game. Now, before we end off this video, I wanted to go over 2 more quotes here. This is what an NHL scout in the Eastern Conference said about Nemec. He is the best D in Europe, and it's not even close. One of the smartest European D-men over the past few years. Let's go over onto Byron Bader, because what he did was he quote-tweeted a tweet from Cam Robinson talking about how Nemec was going out there and being close to Wisnowski's record. From what I'm seeing in my data, Byron Bader, by the way, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who this guy is. He makes NHL prospect analysis sheets. Nemec could be one of the best D-men prospects to ever emerge from Europe, period. Nobody compares to what he's been able to do in a pro league at such a young age. Vezo goes out there and he replies, how does he compare to Rasmus Dahlin? And Bader says this, Dahlin is the closest European comparable to Simon Nemec, but Nemec was also popping big time in his draft -1 season, which sets him apart. Last season, in his draft -1, Nemec was still playing in the Slovak top league. He had 19 points in 37 games, so he really did improve his point production this season. But at the same time, I mean, the guy was 16 for most of that season and playing already in the top league. What more could you ask out of this guy? You want to talk about poise, you want to talk about composure, you want to talk about knowing what it means to be a pro? Nemec has had that for the past 2 years, and he just recently turned 18. So, this is a player that, whether he goes 2nd, 3rd, or maybe even 8th or 9th, this will be a guy that projects as a top-pairing defenseman with such a great understanding of the game at both ends of the ice, and an offensive ceiling that probably allows him to maybe even best out Wisnowski. I mean, Wisnowski had near 70-point years, so that's a pretty good defenseman to look up to in terms of the overall statistical profile here, eh? So, if you're a fan of the NHL draft and want to share your opinions about Simon Nemec in the comments, feel free to go ahead and do so. Let me know what your thoughts are on this player over here. Do you like what you see? Do you think he's got more to improve on? Where do you think his ceiling lies? Some people say he could be a top pairing defender. Others are saying that he probably could be a top pairing defender. I mean, I haven't really seen anybody go out there and say that he couldn't be a top pair defender. That seems to be the common consensus amongst people in the NHL scouting community that I've seen, but either way, you can talk to me in the comments what your thoughts are about this player. This has been Why I Want. We'll be back with another episode sometime soon. I still have to decide who we want to talk about in the next episode of this series, but I hope you enjoyed this Juraj Rolls 99, and bye.